countries, important countries. So hopefully there will be a solution. The last time the IAEA found itself in a similar situation was in 1995. 1995, and I think your question is very pertinent. I was mentioning this issue to some of the governors. I like many others, I suppose. I read the IMF, the World Bank reports, and one does not see in 2023 a particularly critical situation. We were getting all our assessed contribution at the highest point or lowest point of the COVID lockdowns and crises were. So it is a peculiar thing that is happening. I hope there is not anything more than bureaucratic delay, but we will see. To be continued.
Bethany.
Bethany Bell, BBC News.
Hello.
Hi, Digi. Last week, on Friday, you reported that there'd been numerous explosions heard from around Zaporizhia. I wonder if you could give us an update on the situation there now, please. Has there been any change since last week?
Yes. This is I'm very concerned about that. The artillery activity is almost constant at the moment. And of course, the ISAM's team is reporting about this. So, like I always say, we go day by day on Zaporizhia, hoping that there won't be a hit at the plant or that a power supply line will not fall. But this is the situation. As we have been pointing out in our reports, we are following very closely the situation. There are a number of technical issues that are starting to arise, like the long-term shutdown of the plant. Many issues that have nuclear safety implications as well, that we will have to be discussing, of course, with the Ukrainian regulator, but in particular with the management at the plant. So I hope to continue my discussions with both sides, maybe soon, at high level.
Albert Otti,
Yes.
EPA Chairman Press Agency. You also expressed, concerning Zaporizhia, you also expressed concern in your opening statement on the continued military presence. At Zaporizhia, in your report to the board, you talk of a stable but significant military presence. Can you give us an idea how big this Russian military presence is in terms of soldiers? And also, your team has been able to access a few of the reactor roofs. Mm-hmm. There have been reports earlier this year of combat positions being, having been established by the Russians there. Have they seen such combat positions?
No.
Okay.
As you know, we know about this. We got some images about them, and we started asking for the access, as you know, which has been partially granted. So in the places that we visited, there was none. We are asking to complete the whole set as soon as possible. Regarding the military presence, I would say it's noticeable, but it's not growing. So there are a few vehicles. Importantly, in the context of the 5 basic principles that I set out at the United Nations Security Council, there is no heavy military equipment, and this is what we are looking at. We want to avoid that the plant becomes militarized or becomes a military base of sorts. Yeah.
DG,
Hello.
Kasra Naji from the BBC Persian
Yes.
television. 3 points.
Yeah.
First, you've been saying that you cannot say that Iran's nuclear program is exclusively peaceful. You've been saying this for some time. Do you think there is anything you can do about this, in a sense that this has been going on for some time, and whether there is any thing that you and the agency can do to make Iran answerable? Two, the issue of your agreement in March for putting in more cameras. Nothing much has happened on that front. You had 2 cameras installed, but you don't have access to the data anyway, and there are no more forthcoming. I just wondered whether you were over-optimistic when you came back from your trip to Iran. And lastly, do you think, given what is happening to Iran's nuclear program and the expansion that is undergoing in terms of material and so on and so forth, whether JCPOA, in your view, is still relevant, the limitations, or would you say that given the situation now, really, if you want to go back to JCPOA, you have to renegotiate the whole thing?
Very good. Okay. On the affirmation that we cannot say, this is based that we cannot say if the nuclear program is entirely in peaceful uses. This is because for as long as we do not have clarifications on traces of uranium that must be somewhere, and if it's not anywhere, we would like to know what is the reason or equipment. We cannot say that the Iranian declaration is complete, comprehensive, and correct. We are not accusing them of anything. We are asking the questions. There are the traces. Therefore, there was nuclear material. Where is the nuclear material? There were containers. There was equipment inside. Where is this equipment? So until, as I have said, until and unless they say, this is the story, this is the reason, and then we can have an interactive dialogue with them and put our questions, then I cannot say everything is accounted for. So it's a straightforward, there's no politics in this. It's a straightforward conclusion given the outstanding issues. On the March statement, yes, and some of you have referred to this. There are different issues. One is to try to have as many additional verification and monitoring equipment as we can in agreement with Iran, because this is, of course, voluntary. This is in addition. All right? So I might correct you, it's a bit more than 2 cameras that we were able to install. Still, far from the number I believe would be necessary to have, but we started. This was back in May. All right? But of course, one thing goes or comes with the other. It's good to have the cameras. One cannot say that cameras without the data are useless. This we cannot say. The cameras are good and the information is being recorded, and this is important. As you know, not having access to the information at this point was part of the deal, because this is voluntary and Iran is...
Part of the deal. You knew that this was the case and you were not...
That we should wait until there is progress on JCPOA or they can restart. Because what is the goal of these cameras and information systems that we are putting there? The goal is to have an idea, a baseline of how many centrifuges they have, how many rotor bellows and parts of centrifuges they have or they are building, how much material there is. So that when there is a return to the JCPOA or to any other agreement that may come, people know what we're talking about. It doesn't make any sense, and I have explained that many times. I mean, the lines that were agreed in 2015 and existed until March 2018, when the United States withdrew from the agreement, are irrelevant. And it's public, in the public domain. Before, we were talking about IR1 centrifuges. Now we have IR2, 4, 6. I mean, you have the whole catalog, more or less, and the material. And now you have 60% material, and you have, I mean, it's a completely different scenario. So this is why you need all this information. Was I being over-optimistic? No, I was doing my job. My job consists in always never giving up, trying to find avenues and ways in which Iran cooperates with us. This is my obligation, technical work and diplomatic means. This is my mission, all right? So, of course, I wish the pace of the cooperation was faster, was better. I hope we can still get to that. And the last point you mentioned, whether it's still relevant, maybe it's not for me to say. What I can tell you is that perhaps you don't need to, as you say, renegotiate the whole thing. What you need to do is to do all these technical parameters adjustment. Without adjusting your technical parameters, you are having an agreement that does not fit, does not correspond with 2023, 2024 Iran. It corresponded to Iran 2015, not anymore. So you can protocolize it the way you want. Maybe the negotiators have, protocols, attachments, technical adjustments is for them to say. But what is obvious is obvious.
Question over there.
Hi, DG.
Hi.
China Xinhua News Agency.
Hello.
My question is about the United States' recent decision to send depleted uranium munition to Ukraine, and previously also from Britain to Ukraine.
Yeah.
I'm wondering what is IAEA's position on this question, on this kind of weapon? Any concerns over the possible radiological impacts on civilians and environment? Yeah.
Well, this is not a new issue. As you know, the issue of the ammunition with depleted uranium was dealt with and had considerable international attention during the Gulf War and then in the Balkan War. As you know, this is ammunition which is reinforced with depleted uranium that has a special capacity to penetrate, armored surfaces or plating. So in terms of the technical approach from the agency, basically you can say theoretically that this should be declared, but normally it is not because of two things. First of all, it's in the military domain, so countries do not necessarily inform about that. But there is, from a nuclear safety point of view, there is no radiological significant or even not even significant consequences. It may be in some very specific cases, for example, people very near a place that should have been hit with this kind of ammunition, if they inhale the aerosols that could come as a result of that, there could be a contamination, but it's more of a health issue of a normal nature than a radiological potential crisis.
Two more questions, one from the phone.
Hello, DG.
Hello.
Setsuko Inaki from Nippon Television. I just want to go back quickly to the Fukushima.
Yeah.
The Korean, you have a special arrangement with the Korean on the monitoring. Can you just go over this a little bit, because they have dispatched a team to Korea, and I've heard from other sources that they have actually visited the IAEA facilities in the site. What did they do, and were they convinced that IAEA is doing the right thing?
I hope so.
Thank you.
Now, the thing is this. Korea, together with China and other countries, expressed some concerns. And in the case of Korea, when I visited Korea, the foreign minister said that they wanted to understand better what is the IAEA doing. So in a sort of a trilateral negotiation between Foreign Minister Park Jin, Foreign Minister Hayashi, and myself, we came up. I offered a possibility to have an information. It's an information mechanism. This doesn't mean that Korea is inspecting us or that Korea is making the measurements. This is what I was telling our distinguished colleague just now. We do the measurements, but they feel that it's important for their public opinion to have a clear understanding of how the IAEA is working, what is this independent sampling mechanism, how it functions. So actually, we explain what we do, how we do it, and of course, we share the information. I think it is a good example in case there are doubts about the way this is being performed, of what can be done. So, on the convincing or not, I suppose they are, because as you have seen, our readings are very consistent. Since we started, we were sampling before the first batch started to be discharged on August 24th, if I'm correct. Then when they began, and now we are doing open sea monitoring and sampling. So I think it's going well. We hope it continues. As I always say, there is no clean bill of health here. We have to continue very meticulously for each batch, because there may be oscillations, there may be issues. This is the whole sense of the operation there.
Last question from Jordi. Yes.
Jordi?
Hi, DJ Jordi from
Hola.
Cafe. Let me go back to the budget thing.
Yeah.
We saw from the data that at the end of 22, the outstanding was 97 million, more or less, and now you're speaking about 220. Why is such a big increase in 2023? And we have seen that a big part of the 97 is from Latin American countries, specifically from South American countries,
Yeah.
2 big South American countries. Is there a specific reason you know about?
No, the biggest debtor is not in South America. So, but yes, in South America there are few countries that are in arrears. Actually, 44% of my membership, sadly, is in arrears. But of course, there's a very relatively small group of countries that are the largest contributors, and this is where the problem lies. Actually, South America, I've been in touch with the foreign ministers of these countries, and I'm raising the issue. But if you have to, or if you have to put the magnifying glass on a country or a region is not. You should put it somewhere else.
Okay, but why did it increase so much in 2023? Is there a specific reason?
Because of this, 22 was 22, 23 is 23. Then if you add the assessed contribution of some very important for this year, then the figures skyrocket.
Thank you very much.
Okay.
Stop there. Thank you.
I thank you very much. Thank you.